And we are live. Look at this. Kenny's not here tonight, boys, and 7:31 we're on the dot. So who starts late? This is the proof. Who starts late, baby? And there is Mr. Kenny Kirkpatrick. Have a great show, fellas. Looking forward to your topics tonight and interacting where I can. But here we go. The K&K Sports Show. It looks like there's only two of us, but there's not. There's three of us because the Spider is undercover tonight, and he's hiding undercover. And I'll start with Mr. Spider. What's going on, Scoops?
How y'all doing? You can hear me, right?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Yep, good to be here with y'all. Obviously, you guys can't see me. I don't know, maybe that's a benefit or a drawback. I don't quite know, but it's good to be here with you guys, and looking forward to getting into some of these topics from the road. I'm going to be in a few different places tonight, so I'm going to be able to do this a little bit differently tonight.
All right, it all sounds good. And of course, Burnell Smith saying hello, guys. What's up, Burnell?
Hey, Burnell.
And the one and only Mr. Carson Shear. What's going on?
What's up, guys? How we doing? Yeah, NBA playoff basketball started last night. We got a bunch of topics to get into, like Ryan said. Looking forward to the show, and yeah, hopefully you guys are all having a good Wednesday.
Mr. Kenny, rumor has it Scoops is in witness protection with Joey Clams. I don't know about that. I can't see Joey Clams and Scoops together. I mean, I don't know how Spider survives that. Carson, what do you think? You think he comes out of that with like a weekend with Joey Clams?
Yeah, that'd be quite the collab to see, Ryan and Joey Clams. So we'll have to make that happen one day.
All right, so let's do this. I got a topic I want to start with, if you guys don't mind, and I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be fired up about this, and I usually don't start the show fired up. Like I have to deal with Scoops for probably 20 minutes to get me fired up, but Scoops did nothing today, and I'm fired up. But we're going to talk about the Dallas Mavericks, right? And I know what everyone's going to say is, oh, you're only worried about it because it's the Knicks draft pick and yada, yada, yada. But here's the deal. The Dallas Mavericks, I believe it was last Friday night on Good Friday. By the way, I hope everybody had a good Easter, a nice holiday, or just a nice weekend, nice long weekend. But the Dallas Mavericks going for a play-in game, going for the play-in tournament, basically just totally did the most outrageous tank ever seen in maybe professional sports, where you're in the playoff spot, and they just basically gave up a playoff spot. Why? Because they needed to keep their draft pick, which is a top 10 protected draft pick. Basically, if it's 1 through 10, they keep it. If it's anything from 11 on, it goes to the Knicks, going back to the Porzingis trade. But, I could say, again, everyone's going to say, well, you're just worried about because it's the Knicks pick. I mean, maybe that's what got me going. But, and I'll say what the solution is. But, I don't remember who I heard the other day on ESPN Radio in New York. I'm not sure who it was. It was Saturday morning. But he just nailed it best. I either want two things. I either want Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, for never again to say he's going to stop tanking in the NBA. It's either he has to say, never say anything about it. Just go ahead, tank, do what you got to do, and I'm not going to say anything. Or, just let teams tank. Because if he does not punish the Dallas Mavericks for what they did. First off, what they did was he sat Tim Hardaway, Kyrie Irving, basically all their starters but Luka Doncic. And Doncic only played the first quarter because, Carson, what nationality is he? Like, where is he from? Is he from Slovenia?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think they had like Slovenia night that Friday night. So they played him a quarter and then shut it down. And he basically played the last 6 guys on their roster. I mean, guys that never played. Mm-hmm. And they lost the game. So right now, they're basically in the 10th spot. Again, it could change with the ping pong balls. But basically, basically what Mark Cuban did to Adam Silver is, F you, Adam Silver. I'm tanking. So now, if he doesn't, now here's what I think he has to do. No no fine. First off, Mark Cuban's a millionaire. Who cares if you fine him $4 million? It doesn't matter. He wants that draft pick. They should take the draft pick away. Hands down. You don't want to give it to, they should give it to the Knicks. But even if you don't want to give it to the Knicks, don't give it to the Knicks. But set the precedent right now, no draft pick. You're not getting it. You tank to get that draft pick. And he's going around as the commissioner saying he's stopping the tanking in the NBA. Then take the draft pick away. Am I wrong, right or wrong, Carson?
No, you're completely right, Kurt. I agree with you 100%. It's ridiculous. I mean, you had everything lined up and Luka was supposed to play, and then they make up some last-second excuse of how, it's a nationality night for him. I mean, I find that very, very suspicious. These guys play on their birthdays. They've played on holidays before. They've played on Christmas. That just seemed like a very weird excuse last second. And, I mean, a lot of money. I'm sure Vegas is pissed because a lot of bettors, the second Kyrie Irving got traded to the Mavericks, bettors were like, all right, let's throw a couple bucks on the Mavs, and now they're completely eliminated from the playoff contention. It was just very bizarre how Luka played for the first quarter. I guess a couple guys were out, and then all of a sudden you say, oh, well, it's a must-win game to get into the playing game. So we're just not really going to try, and we're just going to let our bench players play. Like, that just seemed very, very fishy to me. Because I did have money on the Mavericks to win it all. And I mean, it's just been cool just to see Luka in general in the playoffs. And now I feel like as fans and as basketball and the NBA, we got robbed of seeing Luka in the playoffs. And he's one of the most entertaining players in basketball. So there was also a post-game interview with Jason Kidd, and a reporter asked him, like, what do you think of this? Like, what was your thought on this? And he goes, I just do what my boss is telling me to do so I don't get fired. So obviously the upstairs told Jason Kidd, like, hey, you gotta sit Luka, because who knows what the backdoor conversation was, because they know that if they would have lost, they had a chance at this protected draft pick. So I 100% agree with you, Kurt. I think the NBA Silver's got to do something, whether it's fine them, whether it's take away their pick. That's what I really think they should do, because like you just said, Cuban's a billionaire. Right. He doesn't really care. He's going to lose a couple $1 million or whatever it is, whatever the Mavericks get fined. But I think this definitely has to take consequences for sure. I thought it was ridiculous.
And you know what? Just like you said about Jason Scoops, I'll get to you in a second. But just like you said, Carson, about the whole Jason Kidd interview, if you really go watch it late in the game, but there was like 6 seconds left, Cuban's on the sideline. They have the camera on him. And like they actually, they're down 3. And I forgot, I mean, one of the bench guys is taking the 3 for Dallas. And you actually see Cuban when the shot goes up, like, like, oh my God, like, don't make it. And then it's like, like he's just totally mocking like this system. So a couple of things, I've returned the belt saying, hey guys, Kenny's going, it's what got me going. But all joking aside, if I'm a star like Luka, how do I want to stay in Dallas and take ownership seriously about contending in the future? Coach Breslin saying they were hurt, LOL. Kenny saying you owe it to the fans to try and reach the playoffs. Coach Breslin saying they can take the pick, but make it the last pick in the first round. Scoops, what's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Yeah, so I'm in New Jersey right now, and I can smell the BS all the way from Texas. No, I'm sorry. That is just egregious. That's a disgrace to competition. That's a disgrace to the teams you're playing against, to the players on your team who believe in actual competition. I'm very disappointed by that. I'm not a Knicks fan, but the way that Dallas handled that was, and in my opinion, shame on Mark Cuban for allowing that. I thought he had more respect for the game as an owner. That entire organization should feel the pinch of that, and I agree they should lose that draft pick. But I also think they have to go another step further. They have to be sanctioned in another way on top of it. The league has to be punitive on this, because that's the future of the game. And especially as someone, like you said, Adam Silver, the commissioner, who has come out so hard, basically been all bark and no bite to this point with regard to tanking. This is your time to show us what you mean. You have an actual situation here concerning competition and concerning competitive balance. Now is your time to actually show us that you're serious about it, because otherwise, teams are gonna, we've been seeing for a while, teams are preferring to race to the bottom as opposed to, trying to get to 43 or 44 wins, and potentially, being mediocre at that point. So
a couple comments. Bobby Blackjack, there's the man. This could be on Amazon Fire TV right now. Yes, Bobby, I know. We got to call me tomorrow. I am using vacation days tomorrow and Friday, so call me. We will touch base and we'll set that up. Eddie's asking, so do the Knicks get a new pick or do they lose the pick in general? Basically what happens is, this is the Porzingis trade. So the Knicks get the Knicks are supposed to get if this year's draft pick is 11 or better, meaning 11, 12, 13 down, the Knicks get the pick. If it's not this year, then it's the same thing for next year. If say the Mavericks draft number 9 next year, then it goes again to the Knicks the next year. So the Knicks get 2 more years of a chance of a not top 10 pick. So, I mean, I would assume for the next 2 years, the Mavericks aren't going to be top 10. So the Knicks will get that pick. But just like you said, I just think, Carson, the whole thing in Scoops is that the thing is how Adam Silver, I'm coming out and we're stopping this and we're stopping this and we're stopping this. Like, this is the ultimate slap in the face. And you guys are right. Like, if they do not take this pick, and again, I'm not saying it should go to the Knicks. I'm really not. I think they should lose the pick because then teams are going to really look and say, whoa, this guy's not messing around.
Do what they did with the Miami Dolphins this past year. Just have them skip the pick and have the round be 29 picks.
Yes. They did it in New England, right? Didn't they take the pick when Brady got caught? Didn't they take a first pick from them?
Yeah, and then I think it was a 4th rounder the following year.
Yeah, I mean, but if they just like Carson, if they just say $3 million to Cuban, he's writing that check tomorrow. He got what he wanted.
He doesn't. He doesn't care. And I mean, you've heard people in professional sports literally say in the past. I can't remember any specific situations, but you've heard people literally say, "I'll just write the fine and keep doing what I'm doing." Like
exactly. So that's my problem with it. I don't listen. If you want to let it go and let teams tank, let it tank. But don't come out here like we're stopping tanking. I'm going to stop the tanking. We're going to see. We're going to see, because he shouldn't say 2 more words. If he does not take this pick, Adam Silver should never say another word about tanking. That's just my opinion. That's just it's back to the whole baseball thing with the whole, all these guys are all the, Bonds and Rodriguez and Clemens, all these guys were so bad for baseball. But when they were doing it, oh my God, ratings, this was the best ever. They didn't say anything.
Well, that's the problem that I won't get off on a tangent here, but that's the problem that I ultimately had, because I at first was how can Bonds get in the Hall of Fame? How can Clemens get in the Hall of Fame? But then you start looking into it more, and would that period of time at the level that it did without those guys, and now all of a sudden they're going to turn their back on them and act like, oh, we're distancing ourselves from this. I mean, it's
BS. It's BS.
Well, it's also classic Ron Manfred era baseball, but I'm not going to get into that.
Kenny's saying the sad part is realistically they are tanking for pick number 10, not pick number 1. That's sad. Yeah. And Eddie Murphy saying Knicks Kid admitted that they did go on purpose. NBA should just say no matter what, the pick is the Knicks. Way to stop the tankings. If the champs get first pick, why do you give teams that suck get rewarded for sucking? He's right. I mean, I don't know the answer. I really don't know the answer. It's just, but it's getting to a point where it's ridiculous. The
only thing I can come up with is perhaps you keep it on a graduated level where you're worse and you get a better percentage at a higher pick, but the percentages are on a tighter curve, where instead of 14% for the worst team and 0% or 0.01% for the 14th team, perhaps it's something like 10% down to 0, like tighten the curve a little bit, so it's less of a sure thing that you're going to get such a good pick for being so bad.
But guys, the scary part for this, and I think this is where I think this is so like this never happened, is this team, like, they basically gave up a playoff spot to do this. Like usually, like the Knicks did it with Zion. The Knicks they won 17 games. So it was like they just tanked all year. This team basically was like, we're giving up a playoff spot to do this, which is
because at first I was thinking back to when the Eagles, against I don't know if they were the Commanders or the Washington Football Team or the Redskins or whatever the hell they were, but when they played the Eagles, they were 7-2 or 8-2 or something like that. And I think but they were playing them, and they were accused of throwing the game, and costing the to get a 3 spots better in the draft, and then costing the Giants a spot in the playoffs. But I mean, Philly was already out of it by that point. They weren't throwing a playoffs for that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Kenny's saying the problem, though, to be honest, is the fans. They will sell out opening night next year. The diehard fan should step up and say, "I'm not going to any games next year." That's how you stop. Because if any of my teams did that, I would seriously look for another team to root for, hands down. All right. So while we're on the basketball topic, Carson, NBA playoffs last night, play-ins. There's play-ins tonight, and let's go 6:00, baby, on Saturday. The schedule came out. Let's go with our New York Knicks. Me and Kenny did a little preview the other night. But Carson, let's talk about a little Western Conference basketball real quick.
Yeah, so obviously, season's over now. The playoffs are starting. So you got the juggernauts in the West. Nuggets are the 1 seed. Then it goes Memphis is the 2 seed. The Lakers just beat the Timberwolves last night in the first play-in game. So the Lakers will be facing the Grizzlies, the 2-7 seed. That should be a good matchup. And then Ryan mentioned last week how the Sacramento Kings, they're the 3 seed. They could do some damage. They got a rough draw going up against the Warriors, though, as the 6 seed. And then you got the Western Conference favorite, the team that basically is projected to win the finals is, or at least come out of the West, is the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Chris Paul. And then the 8 seed is still to be determined by Minnesota, New Orleans, and Oklahoma City as well. So, I'll go with you, Kurt, first, and then we'll go to Ryan. Are the Suns the favorite to come out of the West, or you see like a team like the Nuggets with Jokic, or the Grizzlies, or even the Warriors? You can't count out the playoff Warriors. Who do you see coming out of the Western Conference if you had to pick?
You know what? Jody, our good friend Jody, saying Nuggets, baby. And, Jody's going to have to cover his ears on this, Carson, because until somebody beats Golden State 4 out of 7 games, man, I know their road record's bad, but I mean, who's going to beat them at home? Wiggins, I think, is coming back now. I think Denver's got a legit chance because they're just so damn good at home. You win every home game, you get to the finals. I know that's hard to do, but it's such a home court advantage. But I'm going to take Golden State. I am.
Yeah.
Real quick, couple comments. Infectionist Brad is saying, what's up? Eddie Murphy,
what's up, Brad?
Suns will never win with KD on that team. I already put a curse on them. What else? And then,
Jody really quickly says, name the Suns bench. And that was basically my big concern, Jody, of why I asked this question, because, the Suns, they made a gigantic trade, as everybody knows. They went out and they got a superstar, Kevin Durant. New ownership took over, Matt Ishbia. And, they traded a lot of future draft capital and a lot of their role players. So if somebody goes down the big 3, if Booker or Chris Paul or God forbid, Kevin Durant, if he goes down, I don't know who you turn to on your bench to say, hey, take the torch and somehow lead us through the playoffs. So I agree with you, Kurt. I would not sleep on the Warriors. The Warriors, especially in the playoffs with Steph and Clay and Wiggins and Draymond, that team, they're defending champs for a reason. So you can't count them out on either. Ryan, what do you think? Is it going to be the Suns that take care of the West, or do you see another team that could possibly do it?
So I'll give you 2 teams. I'll give you a team that I think is a top flight, and a team that I think that don't count them out type of deal. So the top flight, I'm still on the Denver Nuggets. I can't look at a team that has the core that they have, Joker and everybody else. And you have to be able to play defense in the playoffs. And a couple of these teams, I think, are just so offensively minded, whereas Denver, I think, has shown that they're able to play some defense that you can hang with the Bostons, you can hang with the Milwaukees, or at least Giannis and such. So they're my top flight team that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. But I'm sorry, and you can argue with me if he's number 1 or.
Oops, we lost Scoops. See, we didn't want to hear Scoops pick the Lakers, Carson. I think that's what he was going to do. He was going to prop with LeBron. So we just lost. I think he's losing low connectivity issues over there. Kenny saying, I think, and this is a good point, I think the Nuggets get it together, and I'll take the underdog #1 seed to get through. Carson, you think they're being a little disrespected? The Nuggets as the one seed?
Yeah, I think they are. I think, the front runner right now for MVP is Joel Embiid, but Jokic could very well make his case to win his 3rd straight MVP. It's crazy that he won back-to-back, and he's going to finish 2nd place this year, especially for a big man. That's just unheard of. You got Jamal Murray, who's had injury problems in the past. That team's got a lot of depth, a lot of shooters, and again, Kurt, another team that's just been dominant at home. So, I mean, the Nuggets, I could very well see them coming out of the West as well.
Who do you like, Carson, coming out?
That's such a tough call. I feel like the East is kind of more clear cut. I think it's going to be either the Celtics or the Bucks, and we'll get into your East conversation later, Kurt. But I think in the West, I would agree with you. I mean, it feels so weird seeing the Warriors as the 6th seed, but all you gotta do is just make the playoffs and just watch them roll. I mean, because they click on all cylinders in the past. 3-time champion for Steph and Clay and Draymond, and that whole squad over there. Again, another dominant team on the West. I feel like the Suns have got to get it done. If the Suns don't come out of the Western Conference this year, it's a giant failure. It's a giant bust. This team went all in this year. I expect the Suns to get out of the West. That's going to be my pick. If they don't, it's a huge, huge failure. You went all in this year. You gave up a bunch of future picks, a bunch of rotational guys. Mikal Bridges was a huge part. He's balling on the Nets right now. So I think my pick's going to be the Suns though. But if they don't come out of the West, that's a huge failure.
Coach Breslin, you and I. Yeah, just give me 1 second, Scoops. Coach Breslin saying I think it's either the Nuggets or Warriors. There's Mr. Beelan. Kurt, Carson, good evening, fellas. Just want to say the Broncos are still trash. LOL. Thank you, Mr. Beelan. I'm going to ask Kenny's question to Scoops because I know that's kind of where Scoops was going. Carson, I got a question for you from Jody. Is Zion fat or just lazy?
Zion's a bum. I mean, he flat out said yesterday on Twitter, oh, well, my body's not really in the right mental state and right physical condition, so I don't want to, go on to the court and make the team look bad because I don't want to upset the fan base. That's ridiculous. You sat, I don't even know how long, you got your ass back in shape. You played and then you got injured, and now you're telling me basically that you're physically able to play, but you just don't want to play. Right. But when you're making millions of dollars a year and this is basically your franchise player, so I think it's ridiculous. I think Zion, whatever he's got to do, see a therapist, but something's bothering him. And if I was a Pelicans fan, I would be extremely aggravated because he's just flat out not playing. He literally said, like, I just don't want to do anything that would upset the team, even though he's your best player.
He had no problem signing the mega, the max.
Right. Yeah. And the fan base is counting on you, but he's like, nah, I just don't want to upset the fans or anything, but you got to at least try Zion. That just seems ridiculous.
Eddie's saying he wouldn't sleep on the Kings. And I think we lost Scoops again. Eddie's saying Memphis is playing without Adams. I think AD will go off and Lakers upset them. While I bring in Scoops, you with us now?
All right. How about now?
All right. Good. Here we go. Question, because I know where you wanted to go. And there's a couple people agreeing with you. Mr. Beelan saying, yeah, Scoops, you hear us? I don't know. Scoops is going to have problems tonight. You hear us, Scoops? All right, I took Scoops out for now. I'm going to go to you, Carson. Couple things. Here we go. Beelan, playoff Braun is different. They brought in Tristan as well for the playoffs. Thompson could help down low with defense. Another comment from, where was it before? I think it was from Kenny. Guys, what's your thoughts on the Lakers? Any chance of first round upset and potentially more? I know Scoops is high on the Lakers. Are you?
No, you can't count them out, and that's a great point Beelan made. They're going to lack size. I don't know how long Steven Adams is going to be out for. Maybe a couple games, maybe the first game. I'm not sure what his condition is quite yet, but Yeah, I watched Anthony Davis and LeBron go at it last night. Again, it was against the Timberwolves, who aren't the greatest team in the world. But I again, like Beelan said, playoff LeBron, you just cannot count him out. He's one of the best players of all time. I think he could be kicking on all cylinders. I would you can't count out playoff LeBron. The guy's made 10 straight NBA Finals. We don't need to go on with the accolades. I mean, he's just accomplished everything you could possibly do. So yeah, playoff LeBron. I mean, that's going to be a great series. Grizzlies versus Lakers. That's probably the series I'm going to keep an eye on the most.
And Scoops, you're very high on the Lakers, correct, in the West? All right, Scoops might be a no-show tonight. I do not hear Scoops. He keeps his connectivity is low, so I'm not sure where he is. But let's do this. Let's move to the East, Carson. You and I will move to the East. Obviously, number 1 seed, you mentioned Milwaukee. Their number 8 seed is still yet to be determined right now. Toronto is playing Chicago. Winner of this game plays the Miami Heat, who Eddie did say, what the bed last night, because they did. They definitely not a good performance. Then we got Boston and Atlanta. Atlanta looked like playoff Atlanta from 2 years ago. Philly and the Brooklyn Nets, Eddie and Scoops Brooklyn Nets, and of course Cleveland and Kenny and I and Paul Rosen's New York Knicks. So let's go here, Carson. What series do you like out of it? Let me ask you this: what series or any of these series interest you?
I tell you what, I liked what Trae Young did a lot. I was really impressed by what they did. They went on the road. They held their ground against Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and that Heat team. So I was really impressed with what the Hawks did. I still think the Boston Atlanta series, I think I would see Boston in probably 5, maybe 6
Agreed.
games. We'll see. But again, Trae Young last year, still gives Kurt nightmares in the
Yes,
playoffs against the Knicks. So anything can happen with that. So the Celtics, Hawks one's going to be interesting. And then the where was it? I think your Knicks, Kurt. I think Cleveland and New York. That's got to be one of the ones I'm going to be looking for the most. I think the Knicks, like we were talking last week, I think this is put up or shut up. You guys made the playoffs last year. Randall, we'll see what he does. Brunson, it looks like he was worth the max contract that you signed. And then Cleveland it's a very well even matched up. The Cavs and the Knicks. That's going to be the one I'm going to look forward to the most. The 4 or 5 seed.
Scoops, anything here that you like in this series? Obviously, I know you're not Mr. Brooklyn Net anymore, but any of these series interest you?
Please, can somebody hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yeah,
Thank you, for the love of God. Okay. So the series that interests me, I mean, I said it a couple weeks ago, y'all Knicks are going to be, I think, a tough out in this postseason. And I say that with all the respect. I think that's a team that I would not want to face on the Eastern Conference. And if I could just jump back real quick to the Western Conference real fast. Sure. My team that I was trying to say is my sort of quote unquote sleeper. You can't, in my opinion, ever count out arguably the greatest player of all time in LeBron. I understand that a lot of people believe it's Michael. I'm not even saying it's not, but at least top 2 player of all time. Especially with now finally a functional Robin to his Batman in Anthony Davis. And some of the guys they have around him shooting wise. I think that's a team that if they can get past the first round, that's not a team that I'd want to face down the stretch on the Western Conference. On the Eastern side, I think that the Knicks are a team that I don't think people should want to play. But also I look at, I look at some of the teams that we expect. I mean, Boston plays a level of defense like few teams do in this day and age. Milwaukee with Giannis, who might be the single greatest player in NBA right now. I think that there's going to be it's going to be a lot of competitive games this coming weekend, and I'm obviously looking forward to as a fan. I'm obviously looking forward to my Pelicans game tonight, and I hope that the Grizzlies get annihilated because I'm tired of hearing about the annoying players in their team.
You know what, Scoops? And Kenny and I, hopefully Kenny's listening. I know he's working tonight, but we did on Monday night, Jenny Hoops and I and Kenny, we did a little Knick preview. Got some Knick fans together, and you're gonna like this, Scoops, because you're going to say I'm not a hypocrite right here, right? Because I always argue with you about the Yankees. It's win or bust. Things got to change, yada, yada. And you know what? No, with these New York Knicks, you know what? I love them. They had a hell of a year, but you had a chance this year to go get Donovan Mitchell, right? He wanted to be there. Everyone says no stars want to be there. He wanted to be there. Flat out said it. Said his bags were packed, thought he was going there. And the New York Knicks the front office said it's too much. Now, I'm not going to disagree and say they should have made the move. I'll be honest. What Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz wanted from the Knicks was ridiculous. 6 picks and RJ and quickly. I mean, it's a lot. But I will say this. You better not, and Stephen A. Smith has said it all week, you better not lose to Donovan Mitchell. I'll tell you that right now, because the season's a bust if they do. Because you as a front office said, nope, we're better with Grimes and Quickly and Obi, right? I mean, that's what they're saying, Carson. Am I right or wrong? You don't make the trade, they go and say, we're better off with option B. So you better not let this guy score 42 a game and knock you out. Because if they do, it's a waste of a season. And changes should be made. Because if you can't get by Cleveland, how eventually am I going to get by Boston? How am I going to get by Milwaukee? How am I going to get by Philly?
I agree with you, Kurt, and I give you credit for being consistent on that. The one thing I will add very quick is that I never said this wasn't a must-win year for the Yankees. I said you can't blow up the whole team because a player doesn't play well for 2 games.
Right. But my whole point, though, is and Kenny used these words exactly, I think, awesome on Monday. Expectations change. You know, am I going to say right now the Knicks are a championship contender? No, I think the Knicks are still one guy away. But you cannot lose to the guy who you didn't. You basically said we're better off staying how we are than trading this for him. And if he beats you, that's a bad look.
Right. And like the comp that you made, I said something similar about the Yankees this year. I said it's if you don't win the World Series, that's one thing. You cannot get your ass handed to you by Houston again for the fourth time in the last 6 years. And if you do, then then that is the one scenario this year where I would say seriously reevaluate everything, because I've not been an advocate for reevaluating Boone or Cashman or those guys. The one scenario where I would change my mind on that is if you get your ass handed to you by Houston again.
Okay, good point. So, Carson, who do you have coming out of the East?
Oh, boy. I think it's a coin flip between Milwaukee and Boston. I think it all depends on the health of Giannis, and it depends on the health of Tatum and Brown. Brown said apparently he hurt his wrist, but I think they said he should be back before the playoffs. But I think it's gonna. I got bets on the Celtics, so I'm gonna go with the Celtics. And I mean they went to the finals last year. I think Tatum and Brown is a really legit 1-2 punch. But again, so is Middleton and Giannis with the Bucks. Don't forget Brook Lopez, who I think is really underrated. So I'm going to go with the Celtics to come out of the East.
Scoops, I'll get to you in a sec. I'm going to say that the one team, I think the Knicks can play with anybody. I really, truly do. When they were 2 years ago against Atlanta, we had Randall, but we had Elfrid Payton and Reggie Bullock and Nerlens Noel. I mean, you might be saying who the hell are these guys? They don't play much. And that's who our starters were. So we have upgraded this team, right? Brunson, Grimes, Quickly's grown up now. We got Josh Hart. So the one team I think that is obviously not impossible, but the toughest match is going to be Milwaukee. So I think the Knicks do get by Cleveland, and I think the Knicks will give Milwaukee a fight. I think the Knicks, again, are 1 year away. I really do. And one more guy away from competing. So I'm gonna go with Milwaukee. I'm gonna take Milwaukee out of here, Carson, for you. I'm never gonna say I hope for Boston, but if it's not the Knicks, maybe you have something with Boston. I'd hope for it. But I'm gonna take Milwaukee. Scoops.
Yeah, so I started to allude to this earlier. Like you said, I don't like being a chalk guy here, but I mean, the two teams that actually play consistent defense, with due respect to the Cavaliers, they've played some defense. I got my boy Jared Allen up there, who I love. He was my favorite player with the Nets before they lost.
Oh, we lost Scoops again. All right, couple comments. I didn't see the comments come in. I apologize. Eddie's saying Scoops has the AOL connection. Then he says, Coach Breslin, Scoops got Sis on the line to help you with tech. Coach Breslin's also saying, my worry about the Lakers is they are old and they just went into overtime with Minnesota. Will they have enough to get through the entire West? Eddie, any chance Nets win one game? If they do, would be better than Kyrie. What do you think on that? Sixers, Nets. Any shot for the Nets to get out of that series, Carson, or just no way? You're laughing.
Yeah, I think it's the odds like on a bunch of sports books are minus 2,000 for the Sixers. I think the Nets will keep it competitive. Mikal Bridges might just have the series of a lifetime just to stay in that conversation. But yeah, I agree with Kenny. I think there's a lot of pressure on the Sixers. I mean, you put together Harden with Embiid, you're supposed to contend in the East. If you don't get to at least the Eastern Conference Finals, I think you got to really start to evaluate what's going on over there, because that team just consistently chokes in the playoffs year after year after year, it feels like. So I think the Sixers out of all these teams are under the most pressure.
Agree. Totally agree. And listen, Doc Rivers is on the hot spot, on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Comment, and I know Scoops is going to go crazy on the cell phone on this one, but me and my boy Jody agree with this one. He's saying LeBron James is not top 2. I agree. Michael Jordan 1, hands down, and Kobe Bryant, I'm taking him any day, 8 days a week, not even 7. I'm taking Kobe over LeBron.
Oh my
not even close.
God.
What else? Bucks. Coach Breslin agreed. I am banking on the Nets as well, but it's a toss-up. Kenny's going, I'll go Sixers, MVP Embiid. You should reach the finals hands down. Eddie's saying Knicks would be a surprise team to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Mark Calderio, what's going on, Mark? Oh, by the way, I got breaking news from Mark. Carson, I don't know if I told you this in Scoops. When 1994, I believe I was a freshman was it 94? I was a freshman in college. And our Knicks were in the finals. No, Knicks were in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Pacers. This is a true story. Swear to God, not going to lie. Reggie Miller destroyed the Knicks in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. He scored like 27 points in the fourth quarter. So we were desperate. We were down 3-2. So at home, right, my grandparents' house upstairs, took a Reggie Miller card, put that bad boy in the freezer. Game 6, he was cold. Game 7, he was cold. So I'm not playing games. I'm going to get a Donovan Mitchell card, a picture.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to Facebook it live for Mark. I told Jen, he's going right in the freezer. I'm not playing any games this year.
Kurt, you are out of your freaking mind.
I know I am. Coach Breslin saying he's going with an upset. He's going to pick the Clippers in the West.
Yeah, Clippers are sneaky in the West. Yeah.
Also, who the heck was it that said LeBron wasn't top 2?
He's not top 2. Kobe's better than
God.
Him. You know what? Hold on, Scoops. Carson, real quick. Give me your top 3.
Oh my gosh. That could go on for an hour discussion. I agree with Ryan though. I think you could flip flop LeBron or Jordan.
Thank you.
Is it in me? I still think though Jordan will always be the greatest ever. I think LeBron though is like literally right there.
Thank you.
I mean, he's done everything. He's the all-time scoring leader. He's got multiple NBA Finals MVPs, multiple MVPs. I mean, the guy's done everything you possibly could.
How many?
Now with Kurt though, I would say too, you could put LeBron and Kobe coin flip back and forth as well too. So I still think Jordan's might go, but LeBron is definitely up there in the conversation.
Kenny, the question is all-time players, and I'll just say this about LeBron. He quit on his team how many times, right? Couldn't win, quit in Cleveland, threw the jersey. The Spurs made him quit with Miami, threw the jersey. Then he's coming home. Oh, my God, I'm coming home. Came home. Kyrie, Kevin Love, all of a sudden they were flopping. He ran. Come on. He's traded. I mean, I'm sorry. And you know what? like last night, yeah, there's 3 guys on you. Absolutely. You kick it for the 3. But you're LeBron. I've never seen Michael Jordan. Give me the ball, bang. Give me the ball, bang. Double comes, I'm going to kick it. But if it's one-on-one, Michael Jordan, man, not even close. And the competition that Jordan played against the competition LeBron played, I mean, come on. Last night, Anthony Edwards, 3 for 17. Come on. Anthony Edwards isn't a good NBA player. He's playing Reggie Miller. He's beating Barkley. He's beating Ewing. He's beating those Piston teams. Come on. I mean, it's Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. It's not even close. And Kobe, I mean, that guy had a killer mentality. I'm sorry. It's just, and the whole point of I got to go run and team with Dwayne Wade to win. Come on, Jordan, and you watch the whatever show that was. What was the show? Last Dance. And the GM, they said it flat out. He never, ever said, give me this guy, give me that. Whoever they got.
He literally said, what was I winning without Scottie Pippen?
Right, but they drafted Scottie Pippen.
I mean, he had food poisoning and dropped 38 in the finals. Like, what other player has ever done that? Like, come on.
I'm not saying Jordan isn't the GOAT. I never said he was. I never said LeBron was definitively better than him. What I said was, if you're talking about this, who am I saying don't sleep on in this playoffs? I'm saying the guy who's arguably in that conversation should be somebody not to sleep on. I never said put him ahead of Jordan. I said if you're talking about somebody not to sleep on, start with the guy who's even in that conversation in the first place.
Well, I'll just tell you this flat out. Kenny's going Jordan, Kobe, LeBron. I'm going to put them in that order too. But flat out, I mean, you got LeBron James and Anthony Davis. In my opinion, you're the favorites over. You're going to lose to Memphis? You're LeBron James?
You better not, because Memphis, I'm a Pelicans fan. I don't even follow Memphis. To me, they're the 3rd most interesting team in Tennessee. And I'm still sick and tired of hearing about John Morant and Dylan Brooks and all this other crap. I want them. I never thought I could be so annoyed by a team out of Memphis, Tennessee in my life.
So if they lose the Lakers, that's a hit. I don't want to hear we don't have this guy and Anthony Davis is hurt. And by the way, LeBron James as a general manager has been atrocious because he's trading all these guys for Anthony. He goes to all these places. He tries to do it his way.
And he wins titles doing it.
How many? Here's the best comment I've ever read, Jordan. Jordan said, "What's a game 7?" I never went to a game 7.
You just said, Kurt, a couple episodes ago, you got on Brian Cashman for saying he wanted to win championships, not a championship. That's exactly what LeBron does. He says, I don't care about winning championships. I want to win a championship.
Oh, no,
and that's exactly what he does.
No, he's won a championship. I'm saying his personality. He wanted Russell Westbrook bust. He destroyed Cleveland. He destroyed Miami. He just destroys the places. And you know what? I'll always say this. He had a chance to be the best. And if he was the best, he would have went to New York in 2010 and been the guy to win it. But you know what? He ran behind Dwayne Wade. He ran behind Chris Bosh. And that's why he's never going to get the respect he did, because he ran to go run with other great players when the other best players didn't do that. They didn't. So, Kobe didn't win with Shaq all the time, right? Kobe won one along. LeBron always had to do it by running to go. I got to go run by Dwayne Wade and get Dwayne Wade. I got to learn how to win. Come on. So
you're telling me for all the crap that Kyrie Irving has taken in the last 3 years, now all of a sudden he was running to another star by winning with him in 2016 or whatever the hell the year it was. LeBron, no other star was winning with the roster that he had around him. Nobody else was winning with a flaky Kyrie Irving and with an injured Kevin Love.
I mean, the Mavericks with Dirk Nowitzki when he beat LeBron, I mean, that was pretty. That's why I think Dirk's ring holds more value.
Great point, Carson. Great point.
That team. I mean, that was all Dirk. It's tough to say because I think definitely role players are definitely a big part. It's a team game, obviously, but I think like Kurt was saying, just cold stone killer. I mean, I think it's Kobe and MJ.
Right. And that's, I think, the difference, Carson. I really truly do. Again, and I'm not not a Brady person. I'll never be a Brady person, but that's the difference with Brady. Like, he'll whip your heart out, man. And like, he don't care who you are. You're in New England. He don't care. And that's the same thing with Joe, LeBron with the hugging Carmelo and, oh, we won. And, and then just the quitting on the team. That's the part. Oh, I can't do it. I'm out. Quit. I'll run out. I'll throw my jersey and I'm going to go here. I'm home in Cleveland. You're not home in Cleveland. When you realized you couldn't win anymore, you ran to LA. When you left Miami, Miami, we're going to win 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Remember he said it? What did he do? The Spurs made him quit. He quit in a series and he ran back to Cleveland. That's why I'm sorry. I'm not putting him in that. It's Jordan and Kobe are always here, and he's, next level. It's just, I'm sorry. He is. I'm sorry. Too much that he is. Couple questions. Keith, comments. Keith saying J.R. Smith, baby. Eddie Murphy is saying Curtin Scoops is Stephen A. and Skip Bayless. Kenny's saying, I believe in second chances. Ja was my boy. Now he has to get his life back on track, and hopefully beating the Lakers starts it up. Eddie's saying, can you say Kobe and LeBron are 2A and 2B? Keith is saying Kobe dropped 80. Kobe could drop 50 on command. Kenny, what stat was ever traded to? What star was ever traded to the Bulls? Pippen was drafted. LeBron ran to Miami, ran to LA, and made calls for super teams hands down. And here's the thing about super teams that absolutely makes me laugh about them. And Draymond Green called him out, and that's why he's just totally fearful of Draymond Green. When he caught at the parade, you started the super team, but every time he tried a super team, another team just outsmarted LeBron, right? He had this super team. Golden State said, see ya. They swept him. They ran him out of Cleveland, right? Then he tried to go to Miami. It's just everywhere he tries to go, he just gets outsmarted. So just not smart. I mean, just terrible GM, terrible putting these teams together. And, it's just, he's not going to win it. And listen, he won't finish in LA. He'll try to ring chase another ring somewhere. He will. But that's our NBA. Real quick, NBA Finals, Carson. Who do you got winning it all?
Boy, I gotta stick with my my parlays bets, my futures bets that I got. So I got to stick with the Celtics. I think they runner up last year in the finals. I think Tatum and Brown are putting together something special. That's what I hope it is Milwaukee and Boston. I think Boston comes out of the East, and I think they take it down. I think it's going to be Boston and Phoenix, and Boston's gonna claim it.
Kenny's saying Nuggets. Let's go, Jody. Scoops, who do you got winning it all?
Winning it all as of right now, I think the most complete team right now is the Bucks. I think that Giannis is one of the few stars who you can rely on night in and night out on both ends of the floor. I like Chris Middleton and some of the supporting cast he has around him. I think their coach is one of the top coaches the last couple of years. Very few teams a couple of years ago would have said the Milwaukee Bucks would become the cream of the AL, or the Eastern Conference rather. And I think that that's a very, just a very unique culture that they have over there. And so I think, and again, you guys talked about it a few minutes ago, and I was trying to chime in when my internet was going berserk. The Philadelphia 76ers, I think, are under the most pressure out of anybody to really do something this year. Other teams, either they've got a long window that's just opening, or they've already won something. They're not in either category. And I think that once you went out and you got James Harden, once you went out and did some of the moves that they made, you went out and signed Doc Rivers. It's they're getting to the point where to use a phrase that's become infamous on this podcast. There ain't no more holly jolly for this team. They got to get out there and they got to start winning some games in the big time.
I'm going to go Miami too, Scoops. I'm going to take Miami. I just think
Miami.
No, not Miami. Milwaukee. Sorry, Milwaukee. Not Miami. I got LeBron, Miami. Milwaukee. I just think, like you said, Giannis and Holiday, I think, is a stud. I know Middleton, he's a little injured and stuff, but they got a nice bench, home I'm going to go Golden State. I know Jody's not going to like this, but I'm going to go Golden State, Milwaukee. I'm going to take Milwaukee. There's Bobby Blackjack saying not the Knicks. You see, guys, listen, see the jealousy already? Like, at least he realized he didn't say the Nets. I mean, the Nets are on 1:00 on Saturday. No one's going to watch. Let me ask you, how the Knicks, by the way, Knicks tickets came out. First round, $340 something. Us three, we want to go to Carson. We can go to Brooklyn. You got $10 on you? We probably can go to game $10, game 3. Game 4, when they're down 2-1 or 0-3, they probably pay us $20 to go to Brooklyn.
Wait, actually, Kurt, that reminds me. Can I just tell a funny story real quick?
Sure.
So a couple of years ago, I was trying to go to a football game on Eagles. I think it was Eagles Patriots game, and it wasn't a playoff game. It was like a regular season week 10 or something. The amount of money that one ticket would have cost was more than it cost me to go to the ALDS for the Yankees at Yankee Stadium the previous year. Yeah, it's absurd the way that some of these tickets are priced.
Yeah, but if you guys want to go to, he's saying jealous. So you're from Kenny, your team is still trash. I don't know about that. Listen, I said it to you. The Knicks will always run New York. The Knicks are, again, and I'm dead serious. You even ask Michael Kay, who's the biggest Yankee fan, he'll tell you flat out, it's a basketball town, and when the Knicks are the Knicks, the
Knicks may run New York, but the last 20 years, New York sports has been like a 59 beat-up Dodge Challenger, so running them doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot.
No, but it's true. This sounds like sour grapes coming from Blackjack. Kenny chiming in. I got a question for you guys. Well, it's really for the Denver guys. Keith saying K&K Sports Show, best podcast east of the Mississippi. He's saying it's time for the Nuggets to bring an NBA championship to Denver. Here's my question, because I hear this every day listening to Denver radio. Michael Malone, if they don't at least get to the finals, Carson, is it time for a change in Denver as head coach?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's now or never. You got the back-to-back MVP on your team. You got to at least do something. I would say Western Conference Finals, if not finals. It's time for a change. I know they had a bunch of injuries last year, but
not now. You're healthy now.
Yeah, you're healthy now, so it's like there's no excuses. So I agree. Let's put up or shut up.
Scoops, Denver Nuggets. If they don't get there, is it time for a change? Scoops didn't answer. All right. Bobby's saying they have the better future. What better future? We got Quickly, Brunson, oh my God, Barrett, Obi. We got 9 draft picks. Can you even look? We should have a quiz here. Can anybody name the starting lineup on the Nets? Who's their point guard? Scoops, are you in the rotation on the Nets? I don't even know. Seriously, who do they got? Spencer Dinwiddie?
Him.
Bridges,
who never misses a game, and who's that guy? Finney Smith, I think, is another one.
Finney Smith.
And their
GM is so bad. What that guy did to this roster, think about it. He got traded. He traded Harden, Kyrie, and KD in I think was it a year span. Who does that? Yeah. He should be in handcuffs. Seriously. Robbery, what he did. Terrible GM. Mm-hmm. Terrible. All right, real quick before we got Rudy, it's going to come in a couple minutes. Big breaking news this week. Last weekend with football? Mm-hmm. On Monday it was supposed to be Carson, OBJ coming to the Jets to talk to the Jets to play with Rodgers when that deal gets done, and then boom, breaking news to the Ravens. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, like you said, Kurt, there's a lot of speculations. OBJ, he got injured in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, missed the entire rest of the season last year, and everybody was saying, who's going to pay OBJ because he can play, and he's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, in my opinion. Well, Ravens, they went out for a swing, 1 year, $18 million contract of Odell Beckham Jr. I think this definitely rises more to the Lamar drama because my question being to you, Kurt, I'll go with you first and I'll go Ryan. Is this an incentive for Lamar to stay, or do you think Lamar's like, I don't really care. I'd rather get paid elsewhere on another team?
You know what, Carson? I'm going to be honest. I don't think Lamar's going to get paid. I really don't. I mean, you cannot pay this guy what he wants when he's a running quarterback first. I mean, I'll say it again on the show. I mean, he just hasn't proved he's a pocket passer. He's prone to get injured. I think he will stay. I think he is enticed now to stay, right? Everybody kept always saying, he don't have a receiver. He don't have, well, he's got a legit receiver now, right? But I think he looked in the mirror and said, no one's going to pay me this outrageous money. So I think he does stay. I think it does entice him.
Yeah. Ryan, what do you think? Does this bring any drama to the fire for Lamar, or does he stay? Does he go? Does what's going to happen? What's the impact OBJ makes on the Ravens?
I mean, if I were Lamar, I wouldn't be leaving Baltimore to begin with. That being said, the biggest thing that people have been saying for the last couple of years is the receiving core in Baltimore is not, allowing him to maximize himself as a passer compared to other teams. And frankly, I think Lamar has been underrated as a passer for the last couple of years anyway. So that I think is like, and I'm not trying to bring up my own teams here, but that I think is like the AJ Brown to Philly for Jalen Hurts. You got a mobile quarterback who's been underrated as a passer, and now he's got a legit number one, or at least the ability to be a number one at wide receiver. So now he's not just relying on a dump out, out pattern to Mark Andrews, and look at their division. The Steelers, I like Kenny Pickett, but you don't know what he's going to be at quarterback this year. Cincinnati, I mean, they're probably the one team that you can rely on actually being good this year, even though I think that they still could use more work on their O-line. And Cleveland's going to Cleveland. They're the team that I've been in on them for the last 6 years, and every year someone steps on a piece of dog poop and they end up losing 10 games. So it's just a matter of what's gonna stop them this year from achieving their heights that I talk them up for the whole preseason.
Anything else, Carson, on the OBJ?
Yeah, no, that pretty much covers it. I think it's going to be interesting, like I said, because, I mean, you wonder what Odell was thinking when he signed that contract, because, I mean, who are we kidding? He probably, a big part of that was assuming Lamar was going to be with the Ravens. So, I mean, maybe they had inside information. We're going to find out later. But if Lamar leaves, it's going to be really awkward for Odell. I mean, granted, it's only a 1-year contract, but still, I think he was banking on Lamar to be still in Baltimore. So we'll see what happens with that. But I agree, Ryan. I think it's going to be tough to come out of the division with that. Kenny said a good point in the chat. It could be an underrated signing with an underrated coach in John Harbaugh. Yep. So I agree. I think it's I'm happy for Odell. I'm glad that he's going to be on the field next year. Yeah, exactly. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in that division.
I love Keith to death, but I'm going to 1000% disagree. And I'll ask you guys before we bring Rudy in and talk some hockey. But Keith is saying the Jets might be better off without Rodgers. Absolutely not.
What?
I'll say this. Listen, I'll say it 10 times. You're the Kenny Pickett's of the world, these draft picks. You're not going to win with these guys. You're not going to do it. The New York Jets have not won a Super Bowl or been, in a Super Bowl since 1969. I thought I'm worse with the Knicks with 73. So now you're talking about 54 years. I mean, let's be totally realistic. When you could get still, probably the second best quarterback in the NFL or third best quarterback right now in the NFL. I don't care if I have to give up number 13. I don't care if I'm giving up 2 numbers. I don't care. If you don't get Aaron Rodgers, you're going to be in last place in the AFC East. Last place. You're not going to beat Buffalo. Miami's better, and New England's going to be better. Who are you going to put? You went the rookie route, right? Sam Darnold, bust. Zach Wilson, major bust. That doesn't work. Don't do it anymore. Go get Aaron Rodgers.
Zach,
Super Bowl contender with Aaron Rodgers. Carson, you agree with that statement? The Jets might be better off with Rodgers or no?
No, yeah, I'm with you guys. The Jets need a quarterback. They've been lacking one, like you just said, Kurt, with the failures of Darnold and Wilson. But yeah, I think, like you just said, if there's a guy out there that has proven it and can still play and is a former MVP, You go out and, I mean, the Jets, if they get Aaron Rodgers, they're a Super Bowl contender, no question. They got an all-pro defense. They got the offensive and defensive rookie of the year. They got Breece Hall, who, if he didn't get injured, probably would have won it. Tons and tons of pieces. Garrett Wilson. I mean, there's Beelan. I mean, I'd be checking in on Beelan if Rodgers doesn't go to the Jets. They have to get it done.
Absolutely. All right. So 8:30 sharp. And we are honored, and I'm saying honored, to have our special guest tonight.
What's up, Rudy?
What's up there, guys?
Rudy, introduce yourself, please.
This is Mr. Rudy Bellotti, Gravesend boy, Brooklyn, New York, longtime Ranger fan, and we're here to talk hockey, baby.
Let's go. And playoffs are in. I know I have a question for you. Joey Clam's got a question for you. I know Joey's not here. He's got some personal stuff he said he's taking care of tonight. He'll be back with us next week. And then we're just going to run around real quick and get some picks. So, I guess.
You want to know where the train goes through this year?
Who's it? Where? New York City?
Boston.
Oh, Boston. Hey, is
Boston.
that I just know this.
I told you Colorado. Boston Bruins. The choo-choo train goes through Boston, boys. Sorry to say it. I'm a diehard Ranger fan, and I got another upset for you that I'm not gonna like to say, but I have no choice.
All right, here we go. So Carson, you're up first with Rudy. We'll go around the horn, and then we're gonna just throw some quick hitters at him. Go ahead, Carson.
Yeah, no. So appreciate you stopping on the show, Rudy. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, you guys had a great run last year. Obviously, you guys lost to the Lightning in the conference finals. What's it going to be, and what's the key to success for this new Rangers team? Do you think you guys are better than you were this year than last year? What's going to be kind of the key moving forward to make a run at the playoffs? And like you just said, the Bruins are the absolute juggernaut in that conference. So what's it going to take to kind of somewhat compete with them?
Well, here, everybody's saying Patrick Kane. The Rangers have a good team. Listen, they got the skill. The problem with the Rangers is, I always go to the negative first. The problem with the Rangers is they don't have the forecheck. They're not strong on the boards. They're not strong on the puck. They worry me, the Rangers. They got a lot of skill, a lot of speed. But the bottom line is you got teams like Boston, the Devils with a lot of speed, teams that can give you a lot of trouble. If the Rangers get their forecheck going, and they're strong on the boards and they check, they will go far in the playoffs. If the Rangers gonna just rely on skill like they've been doing all season, they're out by the second round, maybe even the first round. And that's what I'm saying that now. And I'm a Ranger fan.
Next question is from Keith, and I'm going to combine this with myself because Rudy, last year I did a little wager, Joey Clam style. You had the Avalanche, I had the Avalanche. I just did them to win the West last year. I was a little nervous, but I got my money, made my money with them to win the West. So, two-part question, Rudy: did the Avalanche get right just in time, or will they struggle in the playoffs? Part one and part two is I want to do them again. I want their plus 280 to get out of the West. Should I do it again?
I hate to give this. Colorado has goaltending now. They actually have a goaltender. Of course, the next Ranger. If they're healthy, again, their defense was banged up, Helm. If their defense is healthy and they can get through the first round, Colorado, I think, is the team still. With them, it's all about their health because they have a lot of skill. They got a lot of strength. They're strong on the boards, but it's all going to be, with Colorado, are they healthy? And, it's an 82 game schedule. Tampa Bay won 2 Stanley Cups in shortened seasons. This is a long season. And during that time, Colorado was banged up and they're banged up again, but are they going to be healthy? If Colorado's healthy and their defense is intact with their goaltending, without a doubt, Colorado's a team. If their defense, Maker, Helm, those guys are not 100% and have to sit out games in the playoffs, then I see a second round knockout. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And what was your second question?
Keith just said, did the Avalanche get right just in time, or will they struggle in the playoffs? And my second question was, I want to bet them again to get out of the West. Should I do it? That was my question. Should I put money on to get out of the West?
I wouldn't. I wouldn't. Because there's a question mark. Edmonton, a little better on defense. Got a better goaltender. Vegas plays tight. With the Pacific when they have to, play with each other. I mean, Colorado, to me, is the best team in the Central, without a doubt. Do they get to the second round? Do they get to the third round? Depends on their health. Like I said, they were banged up all year, but they definitely have better goaltending. They're saving a goal a game with the goaltending they have now. So they got, they're the best team to me in the Central. Second round, if they're healthy, without a doubt, Colorado's my team.
Okay, Scoops, what do you got for Rudy? First time you're meeting, you don't see him, but he's on the phone with us.
In
Rudy.
the Pacific, I got Edmonton.
Okay,
I like Edmonton. Okay. Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you, Rudy. Sorry you can't see me right now. Actually, maybe that's a good thing. I don't quite know, but well, first I just want to say I hope Joey Clams is all right. But Rudy, question for you. I'm a Philadelphia Flyers fan. And as you know, this team has been, to call them a dumpster fire would be an insult to dumpsters and fires. So my question is, we just got rid of Chuck Fletcher finally, which is long overdue. Do you think that the GM change is enough of a step in the right direction, or what do you think are the next steps to get this team back, even to mediocrity, let alone above that?
Well, you're under the I call it the Tortorelli regime.
Yes.
Now, the bottom line is, they got to get a little younger. They are. They're a solid team, well-coached team. Tortorella's a good coach.
I love Tortorella. I'll give you that much.
Yes, but Tortorella is the type of guy, it's team-oriented. A lot of players don't like playing for him because hockey's changed, bigger contracts. They don't want to get hurt. But he is a coach that I like also. But he's a type of coach where you're always going to have guys on the injured list.
Yep.
You're going to, next man up mentality.
Yep.
And I think he's a good guy. I like his style with young kids.
Yep.
I don't like that, pampering stuff. Like, there's a team game, next man up. So if you're the next man up, you get opportunities. So
exactly. And that's how you figure out who's going to be making it and who's not.
And what?
No, I'm saying that's how you see what these guys can do is by giving them opportunities.
Yes, yeah. Tortorelli, if you're willing to play team hockey, Tortorelli will take you and he'll put you on the ice. He's that type of guy. Where a lot of people say, well, he's not good with young kids and whatnot. I seen him yell at Del Zotto, and Del Zotto, he put him at the end of the bench when Del Zotto was like 19 years old.
Yep.
Just because he's 19, what do we got to put a diaper on him? No, it's hockey. This
right.
ain't basketball. This ain't football. This ain't prima donna. You don't play good. You don't block. Look what he did with Kevin Hayes when Kevin Hayes tried to get cute with the puck. He benched him against the Rangers the next game.
And I like the fact that he's not afraid to do that because, like you said, especially in the NBA, a lot of people, myself chief among them, are very over this whole me before we mentality in sports. The team is the chief, and nothing comes above that. And I like the fact that he instills that in hockey. I was big on Tortorella when we hired him, and I hope that we keep him around for a long time.
But one other thing is he's made for Philly.
Agreed.
Philadelphia likes that style. Philly, the Broadway Bullies they need to play that style of hockey. Block pucks, go to the boards. I don't care who your name is on the jersey. I'm getting you in the corner. That's where the game is won, on the boards.
Couldn't agree with you more.
He's perfect for Philly.
Appreciate your answering my question, sir. Nice meeting you.
You got it, man. You got it. You got a good future with Philly. They're going to be good.
I'm excited.
And my son played against Primo.
Really?
Yeah, they played mite hockey back in the day when he was with the Flyers down in South Jersey.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. Nice kid. Father's good. The Primo brothers. Those were hockey plays.
Love that.
They're all scarred up.
What an experience that must have been.
Oh yeah, great guys. We played them several times.
Wow.
His father's Keith Primo. Great guy.
Gotcha. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think we lost Kurt somehow, but I'm going to go to the chat here.
Yeah.
Keith Brugman says, Rudy, which expansion team will go further in the playoffs? Do you think the Knights or the Kraken? Who do you like more?
I would have to say to go Vegas Knights, tighter defense. It's a hard question. It depends who you're going with that first round, but overall, I would have to go with Vegas, without a doubt. Vegas to me is a really solid defense team. They're around their goalie. They play very good team hockey, Vegas. And I think the Kraken in that wild card, I'll be honest with you, that wild card is the best wild card in the NHL. I mean, Kraken's got 98 points, 100 points, and you got Winnipeg, who I like in that wild card slot. Like Winnipeg, playing good hockey.
I'm not sure if I think our internet in here was a little messed up. Did you, Carson? Did I lose you for a second? You guys lose me?
Yeah, I think we lost you. But
it got weirdly quiet in here for a second, Kurt.
All right, so we should be back. Okay, I got a question from Kenny for you, Rudy. I'm not sure what comment you come, but he just asked me. He said, "Can I ask you about the Seattle Kraken and why in the NHL do we see expansion teams succeed so quickly as opposed to other sports struggling at first?"
Great question. Give you the reason. We have a salary cap. When an expansion team comes into the league, the salary cap doesn't go up. So it gives that team a chance to get guys who want to make a bigger payday, guys who are in their final year to get a decent contract and go to a team that's new. Also, Gary Bettman is very clever in doing that. Also, he gives them the top 3 picks. So, back in the day, you're an expansion team, you got to come in last. That's not right. So what hockey does, hockey says, hey, you got your top 3 pick. We're not going to raise the salary cap so that you have $82 million to play with. You're definitely going to get some good guys. So it gives expansion teams and it gives the league parallel. NBA, what is it, 6 teams left in the final? It boils down to 6 teams. Baseball, the Mets spent $375 million. You got 40-year-olds making $43 million. Got no respect. I have no respect for those sports. I'm sorry. You could get mad at me. You could blow up with Twitter. You could put me on Instagram. I really don't give a shit because that's the way it's supposed. You need a salary cap so that you don't go to a game and your team's in last and you basically it's August and you know what? We're just going to take some profit sharing and we made a little money at the gate and we're good. No, you want all the teams to compete. Look at these. Look what's going on with the Islanders in Pittsburgh. It's going down to the last game. Even Buffalo was in it. Look at all the leagues in hockey. Up to last week, there was still 16 teams that were 14, 15 teams that were still in it. This is what you want. Because no matter what game you watch, it's fun. I don't want to see LeBron take off. Don't even get me started with that shit because I'm a hockey guy. I like baseball, I like football. And I'm hoping that hockey don't turn into that. But next year, the salary cap is only going up $1.5 million. Then the year after, it's going to go up to $88 million. You see what they're doing? They want to keep it competitive. And that's what sports is about. Because now it's all about betting. Yeah. They want to put casinos in the stadium. It's all about money. It's not about winning. In hockey, when you win the Stanley Cup, you won one of the greatest trophies in the world. Why? You know what it is to do to get that cup? You think LeBron has it tougher, than these guys? Come on. No, and by the way, I listened, Michael Jordan, the best.
Thank you,
Let's not
Rudy.
forget Larry Bird.
Oh, there you go. One more question.
Yeah. Who's on?
I think we're having issues losing Kurt again. But I'll go to the chat again for you, Rudy, from Keith again. Yeah, you're good. The NHL has been getting back popularity as of the last couple of years. Is there anything more that the NHL needs to do to keep the momentum going, do you think?
No, I think the NHL is doing a great job. I think Gary Bettman is doing a good job. The reason why they're getting more popularity is people are getting tired of basketball and the big contracts and the same bullshit. Stephen A. Smith, that's all they talk about is LeBron James. They're getting they're talking about the pitch clock in baseball, the same shit. In hockey, we're talking about every team. And it's fun because if you're in Seattle or if you're in LA or if you're in New York, Jersey, look what the Devils are doing. You know, so it's competitive. And that's why it's getting, you know, Barkley said it best. He was at a Nashville's game. He was at a Nashville's game and they asked him, like, you know, why aren't you watching the basketball playoffs? And he says, I'd rather watch hockey. There is nothing better in the world than hockey playoffs. I mean, you know, with all due respect with the other sports, you know,
I agree.
You know, there is nothing better. And they keep it, you know, you see how the players dress, how they go to the games. It's a different element. It's clear. They keep it the same, the way it should be. Because what do we have left? Really, what do we have left? I mean, it's about winning for your team and winning the trophy. It's not only about money.
Yeah.
So that's what's happening with the other sports. And a lot of people are getting tired paying fucking $700-800 and you go to the game and you buy popcorn and whatnot, and next thing you know, the guy's not even playing. Not right? So
yeah.
It's a totally different animal, hockey, and I just hope hockey don't get like that.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more with you. Yeah, we're having issues with Kurt, everybody. So
right.
he's having issues reconnecting to the show. But yeah, I appreciate you, Rudy, for coming on, talking Rangers with us. What's that?
You got any questions? Any other questions? Anything on that?
Yeah, I think that's going to wrap it up. But yeah, Rudy, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us.
Man.
Best of luck to you and the Rangers for sure.
Yeah, no problem at all. And, enjoy the hockey playoffs. You start Monday. And, it's going to be really good. It's going to be, in fact, we still don't even know what's going on with the wild card with the Metro. You know, the Islanders are playing tonight. Pittsburgh's got to play tomorrow. So there's still teams jockeying to get into the playoffs. I mean, the last game of the season. It's great. You got to love it.
Yeah, for sure. Nothing like playoff hockey. Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Rudy. Take care, dude. For sure. We'll see you later.
All right. Okay, man.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for Rudy. I don't know. Kurt is having issues connecting. Ryan, are you still on the line?
I'm still here, buddy.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll kind of try to put this through together here for the last 15 minutes. I'm not quite sure what's happening with Kurt's Wi-Fi. So, yeah, I think we kind of covered everything. Ryan, do you want to talk more about baseball as we kind of wrap up the show here, Ryan?
Yeah, absolutely. Just pardon me. Just let me know where you want me to jump in, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, Start with your Yankees. I can't see the agenda in front of me, but I know you wanted to get into Yankees and Mets talk. So what were your baseball thoughts on the Yankees?
Right. So as of today, well, coming into today at least, the Yankees were 8-4. I believe that after winning today, I believe that was before winning today, so they're now 9-4. Obviously Paul's not here to do his Mets side of things. My question for you, I don't know. Now, again, I know you're a Detroit fan. I don't know how much you've been following what New York's been doing, but they've had a rare opportunity the last couple of weeks where Volpe, Cabrera, some of the pitchers. They had Johnny Brito come up, and he's played a more advanced role than they expected him to. Do you think that these guys are coming up, and they're going to be? Do you think these are guys that should be sticking around long term? All three of them on the major league roster. Or do you think that these are guys, Cabrera is going to go back to a utility role? They need to replace him in left field long term, and that they'll need to bring in somebody to replace Brito while they're waiting for other guys like Severino to come back off injured or the injured list.
Yeah, again, I think it's so early on in the year to really tell. I think we'll kind of get more of a clear answer with not just the Yankees, but with all rosters combined, like who's going to be called up from the minors, who's going to be sent down to the minors. Questions like that still have to be answered. But I think, you just got to rotate with guys and see what works best. If this guy's working out, being a Tigers fan, there was a lot of high hopes on Torkelson. He was our number one pick last year.
Yep.
And then he just flat out wasn't working out. And we sent him down to the minors to kind of have him clear his head. And he's back on our team. So I think, especially with baseball, it's such a growing process over the years that you kind of have to really develop as a player and really get to know the game before these guys make their next move.
Absolutely agree. I mean, I look at Volpe as one example, and this is kind of what I was afraid of, which is why, when everyone else was jumping on, his hot streak started in spring training, and everybody was pounding the table. If they don't start Anthony Volpe, then everybody should be fired in one thing or another. Kind of what we're kind of seeing manifest. One thing that I was concerned about, which was he's obviously coming in on defense and whatnot, but his offense is just not where they expect it to be. He was never supposed to be a big power guy, but his average in OBP is not, where they were hoping it would be. And he seems like a kid who can handle it mentally, and he seems like he'll be able to straighten out. The one thing that I was concerned about was I don't want to see him get a little bit hard on himself and then go back down to Scranton and then become one of those guys who becomes basically a quad A player because they rushed him too early. Was my concern. So I hope we're not seeing that manifest here in terms of Volpe. But I think Torque was a great comp, and as someone who bought shares of him on fantasy this year, I'm glad to see Torque. I'm glad to see Torque get a little bit closer to where we expected him to be when they made him that pick last year.
Mm-hmm. For sure, yeah. I guess we'll move right along here. I know you wanted to get into some more baseball talk, particularly the Mets, and I think we'll wrap it up for tonight.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. So the Mets, I think they are probably one of the teams that we look at and say that they were one of the more disappointing teams to start the season. They haven't been, I would say, they definitely haven't been bad, but in terms of the team that was coming in, and I make this mistake every damn year, and I come in and I say that they're one of my top teams in the NL. And like I said a few minutes ago, Cleveland's going to Cleveland, and the Mets are going to Mets. And I don't understand what's going on to start the season, but how long do you think that they have before they have to start really making sure that if they make any additions, obviously additions don't usually happen until July, but at what point do you think that we're going to get a clearer idea of, okay, these are positions that are really going to need to be addressed? And do you see any positions already that are starting to jump out to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I got high hopes on the Mets, and I'm kind of concerned from them to start the year. They've had kind of a shaky start. Scherzer has been kind of questionable recently. We'll see what the status and health of Verlander is. But yeah, I mean, I think it's boom or bust with the Mets. And again, it's so early on in the year to really distinguish these things quite just yet. But like you said, I think like the 1 month, 2 month time frame period, you can kind of really assess and evaluate on these guys. But I think once you get into like the months, like the August, September, October months, that's when the real teams kind of start to come together and build chemistry over the year. So I wouldn't worry too much about the Mets. Yeah, I mean, I am concerned, but especially I have them as my World Series winner, so I gotta still rep with them. But yeah, baseball's 162 game season. There's going to be ups and downs, but they definitely, I mean, for their expectations for this year, I think they're underachieving so far.
Carson, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, sorry. I don't know what's going on with the internet. I mean, Jenny Hoops messages me, is there a problem with the internet? Next thing I know, I'm losing signal. So I just joined with my phone, but I want to thank Rudy. And I know Kenny asked if Rudy can come on next week to break down the matchups, and I just messaged him. So Kenny, he is in. He said he loves it. So thank you again, Rudy.
Yep, yeah, for sure. Yep, sounds good. Yeah, Ryan and I were just talking baseball, wrapping up Mets. If you want to add anything on to Yankees and Mets really quick.
No, I mean, listen, big series, big wins, big Mets win series, big Yankees series, Cleveland and then San Diego respectively. So I think it was a nice week, nice last series for the Yankees and the Mets, both of them.
I will say real quick, one thing that I do want to point out, and I'm sorry, I normally am the big numbers guy. I don't have the numbers in front of me at the moment. That being said, just from what I have been watching the first couple of weeks, I'm seeing, and I hope this holds up, I'm seeing an approach of more bat to ball, more, active on the bases, being able to win and get leads and come back without needing the home run ball. And that's what's going to be key in some of these bigger ballparks and in October, is being able to have multiple ways to win games and to win series, and especially against some of these teams with better pitching staffs like the nemesis Houston Astros. So I think that if they can maintain this and continue to have this versatile team that allows you to win, like Kenny or Kurt and I used to talk about, win 2-0, win 3-1, not have to hit 6 home runs in order to win the game. And if they're able to do that, and people like Clark Schmidt can stop giving up the lead every 5 minutes, then I think we'll be in good position.
By the way, I got to give Carson, I got to give you a lot of props for this, because what's the statement, what they say? And then there was one. We always have 5 people, 6 people on the screen. You're the only person on the screen right now. You're solo tonight.
What's up, everybody?
Keith said, save that question. Let's do final thoughts because we got 5 minutes. Anything else, Scoops? You want Yankees, Mets? Anything else real quick? You got a minute or less? Anything before we do final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying the way the season has started. Obviously, a couple more injuries than I would have liked to see, obviously, but it's 9-4 start. You can't really complain about that. Like you said, there's a big series coming up against San Diego. They're as formidable of a team as anybody in sports right now. As far as other sports are concerned, NFL draft is coming up. Can't wait to see what Philly does with 2 first-rounders. Just looking forward to seeing how things go the next couple of weeks. And meanwhile, just on the personal side, just enjoying my time in New Jersey right now.
All right, let's do final thoughts, and I'm going to start with Mr. Kirkpatrick. Kurt, my final thought. Big thanks to, and I'm going to echo this, big thanks to Carson being the only one to stay on video tonight, and big thanks to Carson and Ryan for holding it down when technical difficulties happened. I want to give you, please, I want to thank you guys too for that. I mean, I haven't had this in a while, so, but you guys did the interview, so thank you, Carson, and thank you, Ryan. Scoops, give me your final thoughts.
Yeah, well, Kurt, I will say I hope your net is better next week, because it's not the same without us screaming at each other about the Yankees. That being said, and I mean this sincerely to you, to Kenny, and to Paul. I wish y'all luck this week with your New York Knicks. I hope that things go well against Cleveland. I will not be rooting for you guys in that series, but I hope that I hope that it goes well for y'all.
All right, I'm going to have Carson do the final one, so I'll go next. But Scoops, thank you for that, and I'm pumped up, guys. I am just super pumped up for this. Listen, 2 years ago we were in the playoffs, but again, it was like a battered team. No Mitchell Robinson. We had Reggie Bullock, Alfred Payton. I mean, we got a legit star now in Brunson. We got a 2-time All-Star in Randall. We got a young star in Barrett, Hart, Quickly, Grimes. I mean, I can go forward with this, and this team is legit, and I am pumped up. I'll be washing the little hanky on and real quick, Carson, you're going to love this, because I said to Jen before the thing came out, I said at the Garden for games 3 and 4, I want it to be next Friday and Sunday. Schedule came out Friday, Sunday at the Garden. It's just going to be electric. I want to win one out of each 2. If we can get 1-1 and get to that Garden, it's just there's nothing like a playoff game at the Garden. So let's go Knicks, and I'm pumped up. Great show, guys. Carson, finish it off.
Yeah, great show as always, guys. Yeah, no problem. Big shout again to Rudy for coming on, talking some hockey with us. And NBA playoffs, play-in starts tonight. Like Kurt mentioned, the Knicks, big series against Cleveland. 150-1 bet. I'm still going to ride out.
Let's go, baby.
Go Knicks. And great show tonight, guys. And hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your week.
Carson,
all right, guys.
Carson, real quick, of course, as I got to say it, go Pels. Got a big game tonight.
There you go.
Nice, yeah. Pelicans for sure. The underdog, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, boys. We'll see everybody next week.
Take care, fellas. God bless.
See you guys.